Welcome to Sexy Sunday School, where spirituality and sexuality live happily ever after again. I am the headmaster, Miss Nicole Brooke, also known as Mary Monroe, former master's level and international kindergarten teacher turned professional Latin and exotic dancer, and creator of a women's empowerment movement called Find Your Sexy. For the past year, I have stepped into a new role as an erotic reporter going under the covers to give you the inside scoop of the sex industry. Turns out I'm wildly passionate about sex work, and it led me to my dream job at Sherry's Ranch, the home of the classiest courtesans in America, just an hour outside my hometown of Las Vegas. I'd like to note that my position as a legal lover at Sherry's Ranch is completely separate and independent from my personal and professional endeavors with Sexy Sunday School. The views, perspectives, and opinions expressed on this platform do not reflect the views of the ranch. Now, it is with great pleasure that I invite you to step inside Sexy Sunday School's Courtesan Confessional booth, a podcast for sex workers, survivors of sex trafficking, allies, advocates, and experts of the sex industry. This is a sacred storytelling and educational platform created to spread awareness about the industry, advocate for sex workers, and provide a safe space for survivors of sex slavery to heal by speaking their truth. My intention is to do my part to manifest a sex-positive world where all of our children are safe, sex workers are accepted, respected, and integrated into society, and consensual buyers of sexual services can receive the love, joy, and healing that they deserve without fear. All stories, information, and confessions told today are shared with full consent for the purpose, insight, and education, not solicitation. We do not promote illegal activity, and nothing here is legal advice. Just sexy stories, unfiltered truth, and real talk about life, love, and the sex industry. Without further ado, it is with great pleasure that I invite an incredible woman with a fascinating story into the confessional booth. From a Navy veteran to an adult film star and certified sex coach. Welcome to the Courtesan Confessional, Miss Addyson James. What would you like to confess today?
My confession today is not all porn stars or content creators are rich.
Tell me more.
I think a lot of people see porn stars in a certain light. They see us when we're glammed up. They see us on camera doing our thing. And they assume that we make a lot of money off of each scene we do. Or if we have an OnlyFans, they think we're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or thousands of dollars a month. That is simply not true. Most of us make very little money. There's really about maybe 1% of people who make, $100,000 a month or, whatever that looks like. Me personally, I'd be happy to share my numbers if you'd like to hear them.
Yes, please.
So I've been in the adult industry for 3 years.
Okay.
So, and I've had my OnlyFans for 3 years.
Okay.
And what I will say with that is OnlyFans is not like it was when COVID happened, right?
Okay.
When COVID happened, that really opened a lot of doors for sex workers. Mm-hmm. It allowed us to become our own producers of our own movies, which is fantastic. It gives us, another stream of income. And we are completely in charge of that. With that being said, COVID was a great time to come into the industry and create an OnlyFans. Now it's really a grind because it's become very oversaturated.
Yeah.
And so my numbers, I just am going into year 3, and the most I've ever made in 1 month on OnlyFans is $2,000 a month. And that's that's after OnlyFans takes their 20%. And then for those people who have management companies who run their OnlyFans, if they're taking another 20 or 30%, sometimes you're losing a total of 50%, right? So really, it's not as easy or lucrative as everyone may think.
That's really fascinating because I feel like so many women are drawn into the industry because of the money, and they're drawn into the digital content because it's the easiest.
Right. And let me say this. None of this is easy. It sounds easy. It sounds fun. And it is fun. But it's not easy. I mean, when you're shooting content, so I also shoot mainstream porn. So if I'm not shooting mainstream porn, then I need to shoot content to put on my OnlyFans, right? So I'm working every day regardless, you got fan requests and, custom videos and things like that. So it's, it's very much a business and you are in charge. But it's just not all that it's cracked up to be. And it can be expensive because if you want to go to what we call a shoot house and it's someone who's putting on a shoot house, let's just say in Las Vegas, and they're inviting 12 other creators, 6 men, 6 female, and it's for the whole weekend, you can get a lot of content in one weekend, right? But what if you're coming from Florida? You got to pay to get there. You got to pay into the house, right? Because somebody has to pay for the Airbnb, so all the participants. And then you hope that you can make that money back on the videos that you make there, but that's not a guarantee.
So this is really a huge risk, like financially, with perhaps your reputation, because it's still a pretty stigmatized thing. So then I would ask in general, why do we do it? Why do women do it? But I would specifically ask you, like, why do you continue to do it if it's not that lucrative? Are you finding joy and fulfillment out of it? Tell me a little bit about that.
So when porn was, when I got an email from a company in Arizona wanting me to shoot porn. I've been a swinger for over 15 years. So I've always been open sexually, right? That was never an issue for me. Shooting porn was never an issue for me. At the time when I received those emails, I was not in a place where I was ready to be on the internet because I didn't know if I was going to lose my job, all of those things. So I didn't feel super secure. So that's a huge risk. So it took me about 3 years. And this company followed me for 3 years. And we're talking off my vanilla Instagram
old
work account, right? There was nothing sexual about that Instagram account. And they just kept checking in on me, very polite, all the things. And finally, I was, 40? I was getting ready to turn 43.
Oh my God.
And I said, you know what? Just some things had happened in my life. I'd gone through a huge breakup, all these things. And I said, you know what? I don't give a care anymore. I am going to do what I want to do. So whatever happens from this happens, whether it's a one and done, and I continue on with my regular life, or if it becomes something more and I start really shooting porn and become a sex worker and a mainstream actress for porn. And that's what happened. I shot for them like 4 more times. And then I started getting bookings and I got an agent and all the things. And here we are 3 years later.
Oh
and last year I was an AVN nominated best for favorite MILF. And an XBiz nominated actress. So, that's a pretty big deal in your second year.
Wow. So like literally it just started, you trusted the call of the goddess, the path, and it just started unfolding. Like literally I have goosebumps now. You can see it from there. Wow. That's really interesting because I feel like it was just like a reclamation. You were like, screw this. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to own my sexual power and I am going to allow myself to really explore this curiosity that I have for sex work. And so, oh my God, please tell me, like, what was the first time like?
The first time was amazing. I mean, obviously you're nervous, right? Because you don't know what to expect. And I remember even meeting the guy. I was like, I'll meet you at the yogurt shop. I mean, I thought it was going to be this big, fat, hairy, greasy looking guy that, from a garage. Like, I had no idea who I was talking to. It was nothing like that. He was lovely, well put together, met me where I wanted to, understood my concerns. The company was amazing and lovely, made me feel comfortable. I had, they guided me through how to get the TTS testing, which is the standard, standard testing sites for porn and all of that stuff. And, they walked me through everything. Everything was at my pace. If I needed breaks, all the things. They explained everything. My scene partner is, he's well established and he was fantastic and patient, all the things. And I just had the best day ever. I remember going home that night and I'm laying in bed. I go home and I shower, do all the things. And I'm just laying in bed with my TV on and I had the biggest smile because my face hurt. And I was like, I feel so empowered and like, I am so glad that I did this. And again, I didn't know what, if anything, would come out of it. But I was very happy that I made the decision to do it. And I have no regrets. Absolutely none.
I am like, my heart is smiling for you. I literally went on that journey in my mind as you said that story. Wow. And then how did it develop after that? Did you stay with the same guy? You stayed with the same company, different guy?
So what happened there is this is a company in Arizona and they shoot first timers.
Okay.
Right? So they don't want to shoot anybody who's already shot for Naughty America or any of the big companies, right? They want fresh faces. And so I think I shot 3 or 4 of their scenes with them because they have a couple different companies under one umbrella. So I think I shot like a threesome and a boy girl and a anal, so a few different things. And then from there, I started kind of making connections with people. And then that year I went to my first AVNs, not knowing what to expect except for that it was going to be incredible and a lot all at once. And that's where I met my first agent who took me on. And that's where I officially, started getting my mainstream. So Naughty America, Girlfriend Films, things like that.
Okay, so when you say mainstream films, you're going to have to talk me through this a little bit. Can you, tell me about the different pockets of porn?
Sure.
Because I'm an absolute newbie. I've never really been interested in it. I've maybe watched, 5 porns in my life.
Well, Mary, we can watch my porn later on.
Oh my God, I would actually really love that. Yes, absolutely, yes. Okay, might turn me on a little bit more, but yes. Okay, so yeah, tell me a little bit, how does the porn industry work? What is it like? There's private, there's public.
Sure. So when I say when we think of regular movies, those are mainstream actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Pretty Woman and things like that. Those, Julia Roberts, those movies are mainstream movies and mainstream actors and actresses. When I say mainstream porn, I'm talking about the companies. Naughty America, Brazzers, all of those companies that put out videos. Those are the people who call my agent or my agent, and they say, oh, we want to book Addyson.
Pornhub? What's that?
So Pornhub is a place where you can put videos, but they are not. But they're not a producer.
Okay.
But producers will put stuff on Pornhub.
Okay.
So I have worked with companies that I have stuff on there from their company that is on Pornhub.
Okay.
And then when I talk about an agent, I have an agent who books me, and then I pay him a percentage for the booking, right? So that's how I get work. So what I was finding is I did stay independent from that kind of the first shoot that I did early on until that AVNs because I just didn't really know enough about getting an agent. And at one point they were telling me, I did speak to a couple and they wanted me to literally just get up and quit my regular job right then and there. And I was like, whew, that's a lot. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Right?
Wait, where were you working before? As a Navy veteran?
No, I was a esthetician and laser tech for 21 years. So I've been doing skincare I did skincare for 21 years in between all that.
You're a little Pandora's box. You gotta keep on unwrapping you.
Yes. I got lots of secrets.
Okay.
So then once I got an agent, that opened the door for me to get in with the companies, Naughty America, Girlfriends Films, Hustler, Penthouse, things like that, those companies. And what you'll find is coming in brand new, being independent, meaning no agent, they don't know if they can trust you to show up to a scene. Why would they want to book you?
Okay.
I mean, which makes total sense. You're just a person. So when I realized that's kind of how you do things, I booked with an agent, or I signed a contract with an agent, and all of a sudden I started getting bookings. And of course that goes through him, and he called me, and it was amazing.
So then, how many mainstream producers are there, and are they all over the world?
So yes, I mean, porn is all over the world. Yeah. So, obviously I shoot my stuff in the United States.
Okay.
As far as producers, that is a really big question because now that content creation has come out because of OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Anybody and everyone can be a producer.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're really a producer, meaning
trained in film
and you shot on mainstream. Although I will tell you, there's lots of content creators out there who are amazing producers who've learned, just by doing, and they're phenomenal. Their skills are outstanding. So, I give them credit because the more you do it, the more you learn.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference.
Okay.
But worldwide, I mean, there's women who in the summertime from here might go over and shoot in Prague for a month or two.
Whoa.
Right? So there's different places. And so, porn's all over. So there's producers all over the world.
Okay. So does everyone have to have an agent?
Well, so you don't have to have an agent. So when I started out, again, I didn't have an agent, but I couldn't get those bookings to get the recognition of being a porn star or to get my foot in the door because nobody knew who I was. And I needed an agent to get that out.
To facilitate that for you.
Yes. And what I'll find is there are people who've been in different amounts of years who have decided to go independent, but they've worked with all these production companies. They have all these phone numbers of people that they literally can say, hey, so-and-so, I'm going to be in Las Vegas this time. You got any scenes for me? And then they can get a booking because they know them and they can trust them. They know they're going to show up. They know who they're getting.
Okay.
You know, so there are different avenues, but I don't suggest being independent starting out.
It's too hard.
Unless, what I will also say is, I don't know if you've experienced this or seen this, but we have a lot of content creators who are trending, and I won't necessarily say trending for the right reasons, but they do way over the top theatrics of videos of like sleeping with over 1,000 guys and all the things that are really kind of what I say outrageous, but it's clickbait, right? And those are people who may not shoot mainstream, but if somebody wanted to, they wouldn't need an agent because their numbers are so high and their name is so big that they don't need an agent.
Okay.
But to what cost?
Yeah.
You know, in what extreme?
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm not willing to go to that extreme.
Yeah.
I want to save my body.
Yeah.
And I want to have longevity in this business.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to do anything that is going to go against my values.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's talk about that. What are your values and how long do you feel like you're going to be in this industry for, both porn and legal courtesan in person kind of sex work?
So for me, it's really listening to your body.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 46 years old. You know, I'm not exactly young, but I'm not old. And I think, you know, obviously, even in the last 3 years, I've seen my body change. I mean, last year I had to have back surgery. I had a herniated disc, so that put a damper on, how I do things. So even from when I started to now, I can only do one, content shoot a day. I can't do 2 or 3 a day because my body just can't handle it.
Yeah.
You know, it's too much. So I have to listen to my body. You want to stay in good shape so you can keep up because it is a demanding job. Mm-hmm. And yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's just sex. It's just sex, but it's work.
Oh,
it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And so for me, God, if I could get another 10 years, I'd be happy. But again, it will come down to my body, you know, and listening. And if I can get more than 10 years, then I'm going to do more than 10 years. I mean, you know, we look at some of the big names out there and you've got people who've been in it for, 25 years and they're still top tier, you know, and they're just killing it even, 20 years later.
Okay.
So yeah, I would love to have that opportunity if my body allows it to happen.
Yeah.
And as far as, this is my, my first time kind of being a legal courtesan.
Okay.
At Sherry's. I'm new to this in the last few weeks. And
I got you in a very, very interesting, critical moment, too.
You did. Yes.
Wow.
And, I'd like to explain a little bit why I made the decision to come here. So, I started off with saying most porn stars and content creators are not rich.
Uh-huh.
I am not rich. So the one thing about porn is the money's inconsistent. I was, in the spring, I was shooting anywhere from 5 to 7 scenes a month, which is considered good, and let's just say it's $1,000, just call it, making an easy number, $1,000 a scene. Mm-hmm. So it's $5,000 to $7,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Would I like it to be 10? Yeah, that would make my life a little bit easier, but 5 to 7 is a great number. And then the summer comes and I literally went from 5 to 7 down to 0 for 2 months.
Ouch.
$0. And again, I don't make enough to have a savings because everything I make has to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Like there just was never enough money. And so I had to make a decision. What am I going to do? And again, my OnlyFans didn't make enough money, right? So I just have like $1,000 or $2,000 coming in from that. So the money just wasn't adding up. And I couldn't live the way that I was living anymore. I'm actually homeless right now. I've been homeless for 4 months.
You're not homeless. You have this place.
Well, I do have this place. But as far as my own address, I do not have my own address. I have not had it in 4 months. And it was okay when I was shooting because I was traveling so much. I pretty much was living like at a model house here in LA for a few days to shoot and then here. So it kind of worked. Well, then the work stopped and I had nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. And I needed money. Mm-hmm. And so I looked at Sherry's, and everyone has their own thing. We have people out there that do things independently, which can be dangerous.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. It's legal. The testing is amazing. And I just thought, why not? Like, you don't know till you try. And I have to tell you, I am so glad that I made it to Sherry's. This is such a wonderful experience. The staff here is amazing. The ladies here that I've met have been amazing. It's really been a wonderful experience. The clients, wonderful. But it's worked just like anything else. But I'm really, really thrilled that I made the decision to come here. And this really has become like a second home.
Yeah, and for me, you've been such a blessing in my life for the past 2 weeks that you've been here. You are actually the first person that I am recording for this podcast.
Oh
so
my
you
God!
are
Thank
super
you, Mary.
special.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And so I know you haven't been here for that long, but can you tell us a little bit more without saying specific numbers? But can you feel the difference between porn and legal courtesaning?
Yes, I can. So, I got my first paycheck last Friday, and that was a beautiful deposit. And I said, I can pay all my bills and I'm still going to have money left over. Wow. That's amazing.
In 1 week?
In 1 week. And you get paid every Friday. So that was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I'm like, I can see the light.
Yeah.
I can see the potential. Now, that's not to say that every week that I'm going to have that big of a paycheck. You don't know, because we don't know who's walking through the door, and we don't know what their pocketbooks look like, right?
Yes.
But I think setting a realistic expectation of some kind of number, just so you have some kind of goal, is really good. And again, the longer you're here, you start building and you start to get regulars, and I've talked to you and I've talked to others here, and really, it takes time like anything else. You got to build up your name and all the things. So I feel like, I'm starting just like everyone else did.
Yeah.
And, maybe, if I'm still here in a year, which I hope to be, because I love it here, then I'll have more rebookings and things like that. And it won't be so much spending time in the bar trying to, get people that are just walking through the door.
Yeah. So then how do you feel when it comes to doing both? Do you feel like you're going to just stick to legal courtesaning in person? Do you still plan on continuing your career in porn?
So my plan is to do both.
Okay.
I will say I've been blessed enough. I had a wonderful meeting with the madam here, and she obviously supports all the ladies here. She's an incredible human being. I can't say enough about
she is.
about her. She's really, really incredible. And because I do porn, and I told her, I said, hey, I've got some mainstream. Go shoot your porn, come back. So I've got 2 shoots in Vegas. I have to go take care of those one day. She said, go take care of them, come back. So I'm not missing, because she doesn't want us to miss out on money. She understands, when the money comes, you got to take it.
Yeah.
So that makes it possible for me to be able to do everything. Now, I tell my agents when I'm going to be here and things like that. And if they are going to book me things, I try to book them when I'm not here. But if they can only take me, try to give me a couple bookings so I can do it all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone's been pretty flexible with me, which has been really lovely.
And I'm sure that both would help each other.
Absolutely. I find that, really the way of looking at mainstream porn, meaning I'm shooting for big companies, you kind of, again, it's not for the money, because to make, a boy-girl scene I make $1,200, right? Then I got to pay the 15% to my agent. And then how much did it cost me to rent the model, so is it $60 a night for the model house, the gas, all the things, right? If I had to do a new test, TTS testing, it'd be anywhere from $250 to $350. It's more, or it's, excuse me, $200 to $300. It's $300 in Arizona because I have to use an outsourced site. So when you subtract all those costs, you're really not making that much, right? So the combo of both is really important.
Yeah, because yes, and so I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, because I had a client during my first tour who he was very, very worried about STDs. And so he sat me down and he was like, listen, I need you to tell me the truth. Do you do any porn? Because in porn, you don't use any condoms. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, oh, I don't know if I even want to touch porn. And so he was really worried about it. Sure. And he didn't want to be with anyone who did do porn. Has that come up?
So I got to stretch my leg. I'm sorry. Yes. So what I will say is the testing in porn is some of the best testing out there. It's more thorough than even going to your doctor's office. We have to do throat swabs and anal swabs. Did you know, let me ask you a question. Did you know that you can get chlamydia in your butt, and we're not having anal sex. Did you know you could get chlamydia in your butt and you're not even having anal sex? Because you would think you would only get something in your butt if you're having anal sex, correct?
But how does it get there?
Spit. Can drip down if someone's giving you oral.
But wait. Okay.
If someone's giving you oral, the spit can drip down and get inside, and you could get chlamydia in your ass.
Okay, please excuse my authentic ignorance. But chlamydia is passed through spit, through saliva, not through.
Well, it's kind of all of the things, because you can get chlamydia in your throat. So TTS, we do throat swabs and we do anal swabs.
Interesting.
And so even the men that are not gay actors or, anything, they're straight men, they have to do the anal swabs too, because there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of fluids being exchanged. To that point, TTS and Clear, the two big companies, are fantastic. The turnaround is quick, and if something happens, the industry is literally shut down. Meaning, recently, a couple months ago, we had a industry-wide shutdown. Someone that went in there, their test came back positive for HIV. The industry shut down, because what they have to do then is they have to find all the people that person was with to get them tested, right? So they have to find the lineage, find everyone that
like
the line.
COVID going back
right,
down
and going
the line.
back.
Okay.
And it didn't last that long, because thank goodness they had not been with very much, whatever. So it only was like 2 days.
Okay.
But they shut down. That means no content, no nothing. Everything shut down. And then you just carry on your way. And it looks like there was no one else affected by that one person, which is a blessing. So I would say it is safer. You're safer in porn than to go to a bar and have a one-night stand with a random man at the bar. I stand by that 100%.
And I got goosebumps to confirm that.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question just came up. How does the industry communicate with each other?
Well, there's so a lot of the stuff is on Twitter. So Clear has a Twitter page, TTS. So if the industry gets shut down, those emails are going to go out to all the agencies, right? So the agencies are going to contact us. But I'm also in, there's so many different WhatsApp groups of, performers and things like that. So the stuff gets spread pretty quickly.
Just in America?
No, it would have been spread.
Like worldwide?
People overseas found out about it too.
Were they also...
I don't believe so.
Obligated to shut down?
I don't believe so, because this was an incident at XBiz Miami. So this person had been at XBiz Miami. So it was the Florida area. Nonetheless, the United States. So it was just held to the United States, I believe. But that's actually a good question.
Fascinating.
If it was worldwide, because I don't remember actually seeing that. So that's something I got to do a little research on.
Yeah.
But I will say they are fantastic. And like I said, I would have sex with a porn star before I would have sex with a random person at a bar who doesn't ever get tested.
Yeah. Now, why?
And we're tested every 2 weeks.
Just like we are here. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm sure right before each shoot, you guys are tested.
So your test lasts 14 days. So every 14. So I've got a scene coming up. I want to get tested the day. If you're in Vegas, you can get tested the day before. LA, the same thing. You do blood work, anal swabs, throat swabs, and what's called MGen.
And you go to a specific place?
You go to a TTS facility.
Okay.
Or in Arizona, it's they're contracted out through any lab testing now. It's a testing center, so it's not their own location, but they do it out of there, which makes it a little bit more costly.
Yeah.
So yes, there's certain locations where you do that. You can't go the testing that we need. If anybody is a content creator and says, "Oh, my doctor does my testing for me," I'm sorry, no, that is not the right testing. And most people will not shoot content with you because you didn't go through one of the authorized centers to get your testing.
Okay. Now, a thought just popped up into my mind. What would be so bad? Why would it be so bad that porn stars use condoms? And do you think that if porn used condoms, it would normalize in the mind of men around the world of yeah, I should be wearing a condom and not raw dawing women and not refusing to put them on?
And I totally see your point, and it's a great one. Unfortunately, in this society, men like to see the action without the condoms.
Yeah.
That's just, it's a better viewing experience, I guess you would say. I would not be against condoms in porn. If that was a thing, then I would abide, obviously. And I know sometimes for gay scenes, things like that, the men might have condoms, like, they may require that for themselves. But for most boy-girl things like that, it's just not a thing. And it doesn't sell as well.
Okay.
So again, at the end of the day, what sells?
Yeah. Raw dog and sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
are there porn stars? Are there people out there who do content with condoms on?
There may be. I couldn't answer that because there's hundreds and thousands of them.
Yeah.
But yes, absolutely. I'm sure there are that use condoms, and that's fine. And again, that would be more for like your OnlyFans and your sites that you're posting, not from mainstream. And again, when I'm getting ready, if I'm going to do a content shoot, which is for my OnlyFans, we're looking at each other's tests, and it's what it is. It's on a you can scan a QR code, so you can't fake the test because it's not a printed test. So there will be people who will try to fake the test, but you only want to see it through their portal. So you want to get the QR code so you can scan it. You don't want a printed copy. You don't want a copy emailed to you. We've seen those tests come up, and what happens is, if someone is found out to be faking a test, someone like had a test and they posted on Twitter, and the date was like a year old. Like, I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with it, because they think people don't really look at it. You were then banned. You can never test at those sites again. So you were considered banned for faking a test. It's a big offense.
Okay. Wow.
So we take testing very, very seriously. Now that's not to say that you don't get chlamydia or something, because we are in porn and things can happen. And somebody could have a negative test, and yes, could something else happen the day after you turn positive and you don't know it? Yes, it can happen. But it's not the end of the world, in the sense of like, nobody's trying to hide. If I got something and I had shot with the first thing I'm going to do is pick up the phone. I'm going to call everybody. My test just came back for this. You need to go get checked. So in that way, everyone's supportive. As long as you're not out there doing things that are where you're trying to hurt people, So staying honest, always looking at the test, and questioning people. I have made the decision not to shoot at AVNs. I don't shoot at Exotica Expos. And the reason for that, those are great opportunities to shoot with a lot of people that you might never see, right? But when you get thousands of content creators all shooting content together, there's a higher risk of something happening, right? Even though we're all tested. There's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And I have no desire to do that. So I don't shoot at those events. I shoot privately, meaning someone will reach out to me and it will be, or I reach out to them and I'll do it privately. I don't do it where people who I know shot with 15 different people in 2 days.
Yeah. And when you're at these festivals and you say that they're shooting together, where? Like, they're at a hotel?
Right, because they're held at a convention center at a hotel. So like AVNs, which is the adult video awards.
Okay.
So that's held at the Virgin Hotel.
So you
get rooms, right? We pay for our rooms. You know, that's a cost. And you can do your collabs in your hotel rooms with people. But there's people. So like this year, I will do a couple collabs, and it's because it's a couple people from Europe who I will never get to see. But I'm shooting with them like the first day they get there. So they have a clean test. They haven't shot with anyone else yet. Yeah. So I'm okay with that. What I will not do is shoot with them on the last day that they're there, because I already know that they have a full schedule of shooting and I don't want anything to do with that. So that's part of my agreement with them.
I didn't even really think about where the porn is shot. So
it could be shot anywhere. I mean, there's people who do outdoor shots in the desert. There's people who do pool, if they have a private pool. People
like private homes, I guess, but like
a lot of hotel rooms.
It's legal to do in hotel rooms?
I wouldn't say it's legal. But what they don't know won't hurt them.
But what is the legality of a hotel porn room? Like,
I mean, we don't put it in their face. We don't walk up to the front counter with all our film equipment so they can see that. So typically, you check in, right? And usually, for example, some people that I've shot with, they check in and then they go out and they come in through the side door with their equipment. They go to the elevator and nobody can really see what you're bringing in, right? Like, so we're not flaunting it. We're not doing all those things.
But like,
But there are hotels and Airbnbs who will say no porn shooting in here. So if it's an Airbnb and if it says that, obviously they have cameras. You don't want to shoot there, right? So you do have to be careful of those things.
This is gonna like change the way I look at hotel rooms and go into hotels and be like, are they shooting porn? Are they shooting porn?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the other thing, that's come into play is, hotel rooms, it used to be you had to book it and you have to book it for the whole night, right? Well, now they have where you can book it for just a few hours because it's usually those afternoon hours that the hotels are empty because they don't let you check until 3. So we'll do, a shoot at 9 o'clock and we're out of there by 11 and we only paid half the rate.
Okay.
Right? So that's nice. But again, that's all money being spent. You have to pay for the hotel room, all those things, right? And then you just hope that you can make your money back on your videos. Now, the good thing about having the videos is they will always be there. You will always make money or you'll always have an opportunity to make money. But not everybody makes a ton of money. It just doesn't always happen.
What are the contributing factors of success?
I think, I think we are unfortunately in an age where, well, one, if you're a veteran of 20, 25 years, you've created that name for yourself, right? So there's not much when I say there's not much you have to do. Yes, you still have to work, but you put in the hard work, your name, you say your name and everyone knows who you are. So you're always going to have that. For newer people, it's trying to get noticed out of all the other people. And unfortunately, I think it's unfortunate, we have people who are doing extreme stunts like sleeping with 1,000 people or saying, I want to be put in like a lion's cage shut and let people use my holes how they wish to get clicks and things like that will go viral. Yeah. And I find it very dangerous. So some people are feeling like the more extreme they get, the bigger they're going to get.
So then where is the regulation? Who sets the rules?
Yeah. Being in porn, content creation is like being in the wild, wild west. And that is a real thing. So what I will say is, with content creation, you can do whatever you want. There's a particular individual who has done super extreme stuff and her stuff got so extreme that they realized it was unsafe and they actually kicked her off the site. So she cannot be on OnlyFans. And if you've worked with her on OnlyFans, those videos cannot be. Anything with her name cannot be on OnlyFans ever again. They've banned her permanently.
Wow.
Because what she's doing they found dangerous.
Okay.
OnlyFans also has legalities of they can't have pee content, you can't have blood content, things like that. Now there's other places like dark videos or I don't know the name of it, where you can do some other stuff, right? Where like maybe pee content and things like that. That's become a big thing. So there are certain sites, but as far as regulation, there really is no regulation. Testing is the regulation, right? Like that's the one thing that everyone abides by. And other than that, you just got to be really smart.
What frustrates me the most about being back in America is that sex work is illegal. However, in my book, porn is sex work.
Yes.
So I totally get it when you mean it's the wild, wild west. And how do other people see that? The legality, the contradiction of but if you put the penis inside the hole, then that's where it becomes illegal. But to me, OnlyFans, any kind of cam stuff, any of this porn, all of it is sex work and none of it is really regulated. So it's difficult to manage, to navigate.
Yeah. And the one thing I didn't talk about is we sign consent paperwork for everything with companies and with other, creators. So that is a legal document saying, yes, I am agreeing to be in this video and vice versa. And it can be placed on these sites or these sites only, so you can make your paperwork as specified as you want. So that's a good thing, right? That does protect you.
And that holds up in a court of law.
Yes, it does. It is written by an attorney. It's all the things.
Okay.
So that will protect you. So that way you get out of the revenge porn per se, right? You know how women can get crazy and do some revenge porn. So if somebody tries to put something on OnlyFans and you don't tag, because you might have to tag the person I'm in, if you don't tag them, they're going to say, we can't post your video. We don't have paperwork. You can't tag. They're not going to post it because there's no consent.
When you entered, did you have anyone to kind of warn you, or did you have to learn the hard way?
I would say I learned as I went. I have not had any hard lessons in the sense of anything negative happening to me. Because
goodness.
one, I was an older performer, so I have a lot of life experience.
Yeah.
Two, I ask a lot of questions.
Okay, good.
And I keep asking and asking and asking until, and make sure those are all confirmed, because just asking one person doesn't mean it's the right answer.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of different people. If you're getting the similar answer, then you know that that's, kind of the thing.
Yeah.
What I will say is, I think when younger performers come in, and we're talking, you can come in at 18, so 18, 19, we all know they don't have a lot of life experience. They may have had hard lives, but as far as life experiences of dealing with people, having tough conversations, no, Mary, I don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Things like that, those can be hard, because what they're trying to do is they want to create a name for themselves. They want to be, maybe they want to be a big and famous, well-known porn star. So to them, I don't want to say no, and I don't want to be difficult, because if I am, that could hurt my career. And then they might end up doing something they regret.
Yeah.
Meaning, just for example, if a producer said, oh, well, if you give me a blowjob, I can get you an extra scene. Well, that's an extra, could be an extra $1,200. But guess what? You did the blowjob, you didn't get the scene, and you can't tell anybody. And then you look like a fool, and you feel like a fool because you did something you wouldn't have normally done. You thought it was going to advance your career.
Yeah.
So those are the, and so those are the things you have to be careful of.
And do you feel like 18 is an appropriate age?
I do not. I do not. I think a minimum of, 25 would be great, but I think a minimum of 21.
You stole the number out of my head. 25 is the age where your brain is fully developed. And so I feel like that's when you can actually start to make good decisions. And it's also like, for me, before I arrived to the brothel door, I had slept with 100 men for free, for fun, just because I had a high sexual drive and I was living in Spain with a bunch of hot men.
Right.
But I went in it with like a good head on my shoulders. I have education. I had a whole career. So like I went into this because it was my chosen profession, not only because I chose it, but because it chose me.
Yes.
And so I went in prepared as much as possible. I still went in with my ignorance, obviously. But like, it kind of rubs me the wrong way to know that there are girls 18, 19, 20, 21, like, who are just diving straight into it.
Yeah.
That's one side of the industry that I don't agree with.
There's one young lady, and this is public knowledge, so that's why I can say it. She shot her first scene and graduated high school the same night. Literally. And she put that out in an interview. So that is a real thing. And, she came in and she made a name for herself. And she shot a lot of scenes and she made a lot of money real quick. And she didn't come from much money. So, that's very exciting and all the things. But I think, again, the burnout in this industry is real.
Yeah.
It can be, as fun as it is, at the end of the day, you still have to take care of your mental health. You still have to take care of your body, and you don't have to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
We try to say yes to as much as we can. And unfortunately, some young ladies starting out will say yes to everything because they want the money, not realizing that it's an experience that they know in their head, I really don't want to do this, but I need the money. Nothing is worth your mental health. Money is not worth your mental health. It's okay to say no. So for me, example, like I don't do glory holes, I don't swallow cum, I don't do any of that stuff. So when the first time when it was offered to me, I told my agent, I said, you don't need to offer those to me again. I will never do them. That is not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. For our audience needs to know what this is, not because I'm ignorant of it. What's a glory hole?
Oh, so a glory hole is like, there's a hole. So there's a wall, and there is someone on the other side putting their penis to the hole, and then this is you, and you're giving them a blowjob. And then they come. But it's like repeated loads. It could be 8 or 10 people, right? And like you swallow the cum. Like I don't do cum in my mouth at all. Like just the thought of it makes me sick.
You swallow it?
It's called glory hole swallow.
Oh God, that's so gross.
Now, there are a lot of porn women who love cum. Like all the cum. And that's fine. That's just not my thing. So I would never say yes to that. Even if the money was
interesting
$3,000, I still wouldn't say no because, first of all, I would actually throw up because my stomach is that sensitive. And two, you could see it all over my face how much I hate it, and I'd probably start crying. So that would just never work for me. And I truly believe, again, standing on your values. Don't do things. I understand if you want to try something new.
Yeah.
If you're like, I don't know if I'll like this. Like, I come from my boyfriend, so maybe I'll like it. And then you do it and you find out you don't like it, then don't ever do it again. But if it's something you absolutely know you hate, or you have no desire to do, or you're just not ready, say no. It is okay. We are in charge of what we say yes to.
You know that, but maybe some of the younger ladies who come into this industry are not aware of that.
Correct. And again, at the end of the day, agents want to make money, right? Yeah. They want to get bookings. They want to, and so I could see how sometimes, again, being a new, younger performer, you don't want to say no because you don't want anyone to get mad at you. You don't want to let anyone down.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the only one you're responsible for is yourself and your own feelings.
Yeah.
And that's what I stand by.
I am very, very curious to really dig into the mind of one of these younger porn actresses to understand their perspective. Do you think that they do it with the pure motivation of money? Because they're still so young. How do you even know if you like all these different sexual positions and all of these things?
And a lot of them might not know that. But you've got other ones who are younger who've come out and said, I've been fucking having sex since I was 15 years old. Yeah. And they've already done anal and all the things. And they have this, like, they've been doing this for a long time. They already know what they like. They know what they enjoy. And that's not to, and what I also want to say is I'm not here to say that all young people don't make smart decisions in porn. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it's an easier group of people to manipulate if that is, happening.
Yeah.
And easier to groom.
Yeah.
Because again, they haven't lived through certain things where they know how to stand up for themselves and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not okay with this. Or ask enough questions. Because sometimes, you feel like you ask too many questions. You're getting annoying. Somebody's going to get...
Because, like, again, I don't want to take too much time because I want to focus on your story. But, like, are their parents okay with this? Are they going to the meetings with their mom and dad? Like, how does that work? Like, do they have their family support? Did you have your family support? And that's the next thing that I want to get into is about the stigma and about your social relationships when you started entering in this industry. So
it will end with the other ladies, and what I will say is there are a lot of performers who do not have family support.
Yeah.
Their they get into this, and some of them, have made it really big, and they're young, and they've tried sending money home to help their family, and they won't even accept it. They won't talk to them. They've just kind of cut them off, which is heartbreaking. Yeah, it's truly heartbreaking, and my heart, I feel for anybody who goes through that because it's terrible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who, they live double lives. They do the porn. Their family has no idea, and they've been doing it for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's literally a double life.
Yeah.
And then you've got people who are just like, my family knows. My family knows. I came out and told my family. I feel like I've always kind of been the rebel.
At one point?
Oh, in the beginning.
At the very beginning?
At the very beginning. And they kind of saw some hints because my Instagram changed a little bit, kind of things I was posting or things I was saying. So they knew something was up. But I was just kind of waiting a little bit more time to be sure that this was really happening.
Yeah.
And then I've always kind of been the rebel. I'm the only one who's ever left home, and lives out of state. I went to the Navy. The first one who got a tattoo, the first one who got a piercing, all the things.
Yeah.
I'm the only one, though, that's never been married, divorced, or has children. So I don't know if that has any meaning.
There's always a black sheep in the family, and it's because you are actually meant to serve as a catalyst to the awakening of your family members. So that's what makes you unique. And so, how'd they react?
I told my mom, and she was like, "Okay." I mean, we didn't have a huge discussion about it. It wasn't like she didn't say anything negative. It's not like I thought she was going to be jumping up and down and be like, yeah, do it. Like, I'm so proud of you.
But you're also a grown woman at this point.
Well, right. And what I will say is I've always kind of felt like with my mom, especially, she's tough. We get along better now as an adult than we did when I was younger. But I've always felt like it didn't matter if I was going to be a doctor. If I was a doctor, well, you think you're too good for everybody. You're super smart and you're a doctor. And that wouldn't have been good enough. Or I could be a porn star and you're a slut. Like, it didn't matter. I don't think it really mattered what I was going to do. I was never going to get the kind of praise and things like that she maybe gives my other siblings.
Okay.
So I got to a point where I just I had to accept her for where she's at in her life, and what I'm going to do with my life is up to me, and we'll either come to an agreement or we'll disagree, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And so I think she accepts what I'm doing. You know, I don't think she's out there telling everybody what I'm doing, but I didn't have any negative anything negative for my family. I did have one friend in Arizona which is really strange because she's the type who drinks in the bar, and I used to be the same way when I drank. You go to the bar and you have a good time and you're like flashing your titties, right? So like she's a big titty flash, really fun, this and that. So I was kind of surprised that when I started doing porn, she didn't tell me she didn't want to be my friend, but she stopped corresponding with me and really pulled back. Just recently, she got back in contact with me, and so we'll, try to figure that out. But some of the judgiest people, I will say, are the people in the swingers community.
How much you want to bet? It's because they secretly desire to do the same thing that you're doing, but they don't have big enough ovaries to do it like you do.
I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I also think there is a self-centeredness because, oh wait, she's getting paid to have sex now. She won't have sex with any of us swingers now because she doesn't fuck for free. And I don't fuck for free. Again, if whatever sex I'm having, it's to make money. Content is money. Mainstream is money. Sherry's Ranch is money.
Yeah.
That is my job.
Yeah.
It's no longer, unless I am in a committed relationship, that is the only free sex I'm having.
Yeah. I actually adopted pretty much the same stance when I got into this because you realize your power, you realize your worth, you realize like, oh, that's what this is worth? Why would I have sex, not only sex for free, but drama and all the connections and all of like the things that come with having a sexual relationship with someone, like all of that is work. And I have a theory that everything in this world is sex work. You go to dinner with a potential partner and there's an exchange there. Everything is a sexual exchange, and we're just the smart ones who learned how to put a dollar sign on it.
I love it when I get, you get Instagram messages, Twitter messages, all the things, and I'll get a guy who's like, they'll send me a picture. I got a big dick. I'm like, first of all, I don't look at the picture because I don't care. Please don't send me pictures of your penis. That's the last thing I ever want to see. It's not interesting at all. And second of all, I always say, I get more sex than I get all the sex I want. It might not always be good sex, but I get all the sex I want. So the last thing I'm looking for is for a man who says, I want to date you because I've got a big dick and I can fuck you good. That means nothing to me. That's an absolute block right there. We're not even having a conversation if that's what you're leading with.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm looking for.
And don't you love the men who also come in here and be like, oh, you should be the one paying me.
Please. Please.
Oh my gosh. But I'm so surprised right now, and I'm so happy for you that you haven't had very much negative kickback.
I really have not,
but like coming from the Navy, like what did your Navy SEAL friends think about it?
So I didn't do this when I was in the Navy.
But like them seeing you now, or did you lose contact with them?
Well, no. I have friends in the Navy who know that I'm doing this. I've had a few people who've found me and like called me by my regular, my real last name, and they're like, and I was like, oh my God, we were on the Nimitz together. Oh, look at you now, which has been fun. But everyone's been supportive. Honestly, I can't say in that really aspect, cool. I'm really blessed because there's so many male and female performers out there who do not have the support of their family, friends, loved ones, and they're making a good living. They're doing something they enjoy, and they're not hurting anybody. That's the thing. We're not hurting anybody. Yeah. We're not cheating on anybody. This is all consensual, and even people who are in relationships in content. I mean, their husbands know what they're doing, all the things. And, you become really good friends with a lot of these people, and they become like family.
Yeah.
And for the people who don't have that support, it's got to take a toll on you, emotionally. And that breaks my heart.
Okay, so if you were to be Lady Liberty, like defender of porn, how would you react to all of the negative stigma around porn? So for example, with porn addiction and people not knowing how to control themselves, and so they just blame everything on the porn industry, and I mean with young girls going in it and with underage kids watching it or whatever, like how would you defend it? What positive contribution do you think it does give to society?
I think that's a fantastic question. And the first thing I'm going to say before I say anything else is we, meaning the people in porn content creation, we do not want children watching porn. Not a single one of us agree that that is an okay thing. And we do not post to places where children can see it. We're on OnlyFans behind a paywall. Things now, with that being
on Instagram though.
There's not porn on Instagram. Someone could try to post something, but it's going to get taken down very quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's not porn on Instagram.
Yeah.
What I will say is we're going through this, as you know, this age verification thing, which has really hurt the porn industry. And this is, people from one side saying porn is bad and that we are the bad people. And without porn, because there's no the age verification that they want, this is the reason why kids are watching porn. That is not true. Parents, you are parents for a reason. It is up to you to parent your children. It is up to you to put to monitor their cell phone and put on the right things so that they can't access certain things. What's happened to this society is parents don't parent anymore. Yeah. Because a lot of them work long hours. Some, I get it. And I'm not criticizing someone for being a parent, but what I'm saying is so many people, they wanted to put the blame on somebody else. So it's easier to put the blame on the porn industry that we are the bad people versus looking at yourself as a parent and saying, I could have done this better. Let me protect my child. That's my job.
Here we go again with the goosebumps. I was a teacher for 10 years, so I know very, very well the evolution of parenting trends. Throughout the years, they have been less hands-on, more, here's a tablet, watch this. And it is really heartbreaking how, they're not parenting anymore. No. Okay.
And there's parental controls on these things.
Yeah.
I mean, you can control it.
Yeah.
The age verification thing, again, we want children to be safe. 100%. No one will argue that.
Yeah.
But we are not the problem.
Yeah.
And what they have now done is they've created it so that we are now losing money because in the state of Texas, you can't access Pornhub. You have to have a VPN. There's all these things. So they're making all these, there's all these loopholes. So content creators are losing money because you can't access sites to buy. And most everyday people do not want to have to submit their ID to a age verification. You know why?
The buyers.
The
watchers.
Right?
Okay.
Because when that gets leaked, and we know it will at some point, everyone's name is going to show up of who buys porn. And that's their fear because that takes their privacy away.
Yeah.
Someone who is a 50-year-old man or woman sitting in the home, in their bedroom, should be able to watch porn because they're not breaking any rules. They're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And now you have to submit an ID and do all these things. And then that takes away their privacy. Because as technology, continues to grow, we've seen major leaks happen and things like that. There will be a point, or I guarantee you this information will come out and then people are going to be upset that they gave their information and people are going to know they watch porn.
To whom?
Listen.
What is it a government agency?
No, it's.
But who made this rule?
Oh, the government. Yes, I'm sorry. This was something in the, I believe it was part of the Big Beautiful Bill. And no,
so we're going to go there.
So, and what I will say is, I don't want to get into politics too much.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, I think we all know that our current president is more open-minded about porn in general, based on his past, right? So I think, people in government have a lot of other people to make happy because they need to get money from them, right? You want the donors, you want the this. So this was something that was pressed very hard. But I also think it's bigger than just porn. It's a way to shut down abortions. It's a way to keep women quiet. It's a way to keep us from... It's a way... What's the word I'm trying to think? It's a way to keep us
Controlled?
Suppressed. That's the word I'm looking for. Suppressed. Because it's much bigger than porn. It involves all of those things, right?
Yeah.
Because, they're changing the Roe versus Wade. Now you've got the age verification. That it's all in the same lines of things, and it all has to do with women's Right. Although age verification is men and women as far as content creators. But I think it all comes down to the same circle, and it keeps us suppressed.
2 questions. You choose which one you want to answer first. What do you feel like the benefits of porn are? How do you think it positively affects people's lives? And what do you think the future of the porn industry is with all of these regulations, with President Trump in the office? Where do you see it?
Right. 2 great questions. One, I think porn's been around forever. Prostitution, legal courtesans have been, this has all been a thing. This has been a thing for many, 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 many years, and it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
The amount of money that the porn industry brings in to the country alone, is a lot of money, and can't just shut that down. That just isn't going to happen. But I also think when we look at these age verification things, kids are very smart. There's kids that are way younger than me that know way more about technology than I could ever figure out. And they know how to get a VPN. Most of these kids have parents' credit card, if not their own, on their phone, so they can just order whatever they want. They could pay for a VPN and access any of these sites with a VPN, and then they don't need an ID. I mean, there's ways around it. And it's going to push these kids to go find things on the dark web. Because if you can't access it this way, we're going to access it another way. So I don't think they've looked at that. And I'm interested to see kind of what's next in this age verification thing. There's more and more states adopting it, that it's getting that states are voting on it and approving it. And I don't know what the end all be all is, like after the age verification, what comes next? So we're all kind of like on pins and needles. We don't really know what's going to happen next. We're just as clueless as everybody else, until something pops up.
Yeah.
The other thing that, affects us is banking. I don't know if you're aware of this, but banks can shut us down. So OnlyFans is legal, right? OnlyFans is legal. It's a legal company.
Yeah.
Well known. But if a bank sees that you're getting those deposits and they choose not to accept your money because they realize you're a sex worker, whether you're content or mainstream, they can close your account. Happens all the time. People go to get money, accounts closed, they have to go to the bank, take all their money and leave and find somewhere else to go.
Would they steal their money?
They don't steal their money. They just shut their account and they can no longer have a business there.
Interesting.
And what I did see is something good I will say that the president has done. It's in the midst of being done, but it looks like he's looking to sign something where banks cannot discriminate against where the money. I mean, obviously, it's legal money, right? It's not like we're taking $20,000 of cash and just throwing it in there with no trail. Like OnlyFans is legal, LoyalFans is legal. Those are all legal places that have legal businesses and that we get paid through. Should not be an issue. So that's something positive, because that could be a huge issue if your banking gets closed down.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we may not know what is in the future, but from what I know in consciousness and manifesting, like, we are the ones who are going to manifest that future. Instead of giving the control straight to the government, like, we also get to choose. So I'm going to ask my last question to you, and actually that is, what do you see? What would you want to manifest as like a sex positive future? How would you envision heaven on earth for a sex positive world, including the benefits of the porn industry?
I think there needs to just be more open conversations about sex. Have talks with your children. Sex is not dirty. Sex does not have to be, sex is beautiful. The human body is beautiful. Yes, if we look at biblical things, yes, were we made to create children, right? Like, that's kind of our thing. But sex doesn't have to be just, you're here to create babies and that's it. Like, there's a fulfillment and an enjoyment with your partner and whoever you're with, or even by yourself, just masturbation. It's okay to feel good, and you shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to feel good. Again, we're not hurting anybody else. Yeah. And I just want people to ask more questions and be open with that. Something that we get here is we get virgins. Yeah. And which I think is a beautiful thing. And some of them are in their 20s. Yeah. Or maybe even their 30s. And it's the most beautiful experience, I have to tell you, because they're very innocent. I mean, it's not like they don't know about sex. It's not like they don't masturbate. But they didn't want to just have sex with someone. They're afraid they're going to get laughed at because maybe they're older and they don't know how to approach somebody and let them know. And so they come here with someone who has experience, who's going to be patient, and talk them through things.
Yeah.
This is how you do things. This is why we do it. You're doing great. And really build them up for going out and,
and giving the immediate feedback in person right there that they can use with their other partners.
Absolutely.
And porn doesn't really offer that.
No, porn does not. And, the other thing I want to say about porn, for those of you who watch our movies, porn, the sex part is really only 20 to 25 minutes out of the whole movie. So even if we're on set for 8 hours, we're not having sex for 8 hours. We're having sex for the last 20 to 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, depending on the movie. But that's it. Nonetheless, you can still, I've spent 8 hours on a set. And again, it wasn't all sex. It was just the last part. So people think because it's a porn, like we're literally having sex all day long. No, but you have some sets where you might be there, kind of a gonzo, and you're there for 2 hours and it's easy. And then you got other ones where you have a 10-page script.
Yeah.
Or a 30-page script because you're doing a feature.
Yeah, you really are acting.
Acting, right.
Interesting.
Yes. So there's so many different levels of that. But yeah, we don't get on set and we don't have sex for, 8 hours a day.
Yeah. Do you feel like the sex positive future of the world, sex work would be legal, global, worldwide?
I don't know if it'll ever be legal.
But do you want it to? Like, would you imagine and envision for the highest good of all that it would be legal?
That's a really good question. I think it would make things a little simpler. But I also understand why it's not. We're in a day and age, and we've dealt with this for years, but it's really, become such a big thing. Arizona is one of the biggest states for sex trafficking and trafficking of children and sex workers. So I understand, it's like it's that line, right? There's a line, and you have to be really careful. So that's a tough one because obviously we don't want children or anyone human trafficked. That's terrible, and nobody should have to go through that, and it happens every day. But at the same time, I just want to go out and live my life and do things the right way, and I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
So, and I could say that, let's just say if somebody is an independent person out there doing their own thing, which is, not legal, it might depend on the cop you get. It could be during the Super Bowl, right? And they're watching everywhere. And one cop might see what you're doing and say, you're not sex trafficking. Go do your thing. And I never saw you. Another cop might want to try to prosecute anybody they see making a private deal just because that's what they want to do, when that's not really the people they're after. The people we really need to be after is the real criminals. We are not criminals.
Yeah.
And that's where people need to understand that. Like, we are not the bad people.
We are not the bad people.
No.
And in fact, here at our job at Sherry's Ranch, we provide healing, we provide love, we provide companionship, and I think that we really are the embodiment of the goddess of love, and that we are giving a service to men, to women, to virgins, to disabled people, to finally feel love, seen, valued, heard, and held. So thank you so much, Miss Addyson.
Oh,
James.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
This was absolutely an incredible conversation. Is there any last message or anything else that you would like to tell the audience today?
If you are support your local sex worker. And what I mean by that, if don't ask us for free stuff online. Go to our OnlyFans or go to our platforms and purchase something, because that's how we make our money. That's our paycheck. So I will say that one thing that I hate the most is when a fan is like, I want a free video. That's a block. I'm not going to give you a free video. I had to work really hard to make that video, and it cost me money to make that video. I want you to enjoy that video, but there is a cost, and it's not that expensive, and that's the right way to do things.
Yeah, and I feel like if men and buyers can realize that it's not degrading to pay for sex. It is an actual service and a token of love to the goddess of your choice for sharing her sacred sexual energy for you. And that's part of my mission in the Courtesan Confessional, is to really open up people's minds, to take the shame and the stigma away. And you have done wonders in helping us learn more about the porn industry. So thank you so much. And if you guys would like to support the Courtesan Confessional, you can subscribe to the Substack Substack, and make sure to visit sexysundayschool.com to keep updated on everything spiritual and sexy. So, Miss Nicole Brooke, Mary Monroe, signing off. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Addyson James,
Thank you.
and we will see you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay! That's awesome. That was fantastic.
That was cool. That was really cool. Okay.